Welcome back to Conversation to Close. This is Sean, and today I want to go over standard operating procedures or SOPs for using DealSniper. This you can just listen to. I'm not going to be showing anything on the screen. That'll be the next video. So, standard operating procedures for using DealSniper. What does that mean? That means, what am I supposed to do? How do I use it? So, you're going to have to use DealSniper in conjunction with another program, usually Redfin. I recommend Redfin. And you're going to have both of these up right next to each other, just like they are right now on my screen. You're going to go to Redfin. You're going to pick your market. Now, here's where the SOPs start. Sean, how do I pick a market? Pick a market or a city that you're going to start doing this in that has a population of 500,000 or more. I do not recommend, especially if you're new to this, starting in a smaller city. 500,000 or more, the higher, the better. That's number one. Number two, when you're using Redfin, everyone is always asking me what filters. I only use one filter, time on Redfin. And I put at least 60 days. 90 would be better, 180 is the best. But 90 is probably pretty fair. Anything above 60 and you're good. And that's the only filter that I use. Now here's the next one. What type of properties am I looking for? Can this work on land properties? Yes, it can. You can do creative financing on just about any property as long as the seller is willing to move forward with that type of deal. Couple of things. First and foremost, land. If you're looking for my disposition team to help you move your deals, we do not have the best community for land. We've got about 5 or 6 buyers that buy land nationwide, and that's it. If they're not interested in it, we can't help you any further than that. So I always recommend people stay away from land, but that's just because I'm not good at it. What about multifamilies, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes? Absolutely. You can offer creative financing on those. What about apartment units where it's 10 apartments, 20, 100? Yes, you can, as long as the real estate agent and the seller, first and foremost, is okay with that type of deal, which usually they are. What about commercial properties like a big retail park? Yes, you can, as long as the seller is into it. All right, so let's go back to the rest of the SOPs. So we've covered what type of market to be in, 500,000 or more. We also have covered what type of properties you can do this on. So now let's go through the actual practice of it. First thing you're going to do, you're going to go to Redfin and you're going to type in whatever city you've chosen that has at least 500,000 population or more. You're going to click on the filters and you're going to hit that drop down for days on Redfin. You're going to click it to 60, 90, 180, whichever one you prefer. Then you're going to look for vacant or staged properties. That's the best. Why are we looking for vacant and or staged properties? Well, if a property is staged, that also means that it's vacant. So why are we focusing on vacant properties? Because if someone's living in the property, chances are they're going to need the entire purchase price at closing in order to buy another house to move to. If the house is vacant, they already live somewhere else. So chances are they don't need the entire purchase price at closing, and they may be more open to creative financing. Also, a staged home usually is in really good condition. And when you're targeting these deals, you want to target properties that are in really good condition. They don't have to be flipped. They don't have to be perfect, but you definitely want them to be in good shape because we're dealing with a different type of investor with these type of properties. We're not dealing with fix and flip investors like with cash deals. We're dealing with buy and hold investors. These investors don't particularly care how much the property costs. They care about how much cash flow it's going to make them. So ideal situation for them would be to have a property where once they buy it, they can just put a tenant in it without having to do a bunch of work and spend a bunch of money. That's why they're working with wholesalers and buying creative deals in the first place, so they can keep their entry percentage low. So look for staged and vacant properties. And then secondary, you want to look for properties that are in good shape. And don't prejudge. Just because a property isn't vacant doesn't mean you shouldn't do an offer. It just means that you have a higher chance of converting the deal if the property is vacant. It doesn't mean this doesn't work on properties that are occupied. For all you know, the property could be occupied by a tenant. And that's also a good situation to put into a creative financing deal. If you're dealing with someone who owns a bunch of properties and they're used to getting monthly payments in rent, and you offer them a large lump sum down payment, and then those same monthly payments, but they don't have any of the headache, they may be open to that. So don't judge a book by its cover. Just because a property appears to be occupied doesn't mean it's owner occupied. Still put in the offer. So let's get back to the mechanics. Let's talk about the DealSniper letter that is generated for you. Now, for those of you who have heard me do my training before, you already know what's coming. For those of you that are new, please, when DealSniper generates the numbers, clean them up. And what I mean by clean them up, I mean round them off. If it says the purchase price is $307,432, just round it off to 307. If it says the monthly payment is $788.62, just either round it down to 700 or round it up to 800. Who in the world wants $788.62 as a monthly payment? Just a nice round number. Same thing with the down payment. The down payment says $21,722.63. Just change it to $20,000. That's what I mean by clean up your numbers. You're going to round them off, make them make a little bit more sense. If you want to do on a monthly payment, oh, Sean, it said $788. What do I change it to? I don't want to change it all the way down. Well, you should. You can always round down. You're always safe to round down because that gives you more wiggle room in case the seller or the real estate agent wants to negotiate with you. You don't want to round down that much, change it to $750. So that's cleaning up your numbers. Once your numbers are clean, then you're going to go back to the listing and you're going to scroll down to the bottom, especially if you're on Redfin. You're going to look at the property description, and right below it, you're going to see the realtor's name. If you're lucky, their phone number. And if you're super lucky, their email address will be right there. But what will always be there is their name and the company that they work for. If the phone number and the real estate's email address isn't there, copy their name and the company they work for and Google it. And within the first 3 to 4 results, you'll see their profile. Their profile will at the very least have their phone number always. And most times, it'll have their email address. Then you copy the email address, put it into an email, copy what DealSniper gave you, put their name where it says realtor name at the top, put your contact information at the bottom, and send the email off. If it doesn't have their email address, you just can't find it, but you see their phone number, call them. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I've got an offer that I'd like to put on 123 Main Street that you have listed, but I don't see your email address on the listing. Can you text that to me so I can get this offer over to you? Thank you. That's it. They will text it to you. Or they'll tell you how they prefer to have the offer sent to them. Chances are they'll just text it to you. What do you do once you've already sent an offer? Okay, so you sent your offer. Once you get good at it, it should take you 2 to 3 minutes per offer, even if you have to look up their email address, even if you have to give them a call. It should only take 2 to 3 minutes. Once you've done that, then you need to set up your Google Sheet. Unless you're using a CRM, but you don't have to. This is made to be very simplistic. You don't have to pay for a CRM. You don't have to pay for batch leads or PropStream or whichever one of those is, paid for. Just start a Google Sheet, and you're going to have like 7 columns. The first column is going to be a date. You're going to label at the top, date. Next column is going to be the address to the property. Column after that, you can put the realtor's name. The next column, the realtor's phone number. The next column, the realtor's email address. The next column will be a link to the property on Redfin. So that way you can click it. It takes you right back to the property. And the last column would be your offer from DealSniper, just the numbers: purchase price, down payment, monthly payment. That's what you sent to them. And then you track it that way. Every time you do a property, add all that to your Google Sheet. That way you know when to follow up. If the property is still listed, if they've told you no and the property is still listed a month later, call them again. And we're going to get into that right now. So the next thing, realtor responses. Sean, what do I do? A realtor said this. I get this so many times, and it's fine. I love getting these messages from you guys, but I want you guys to start being self-sufficient and know how to interpret these yourself. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the most common ones. These will be in no particular order, and they'll always be the simplistic version of whatever you're going to get. And I'll try and give you as many examples as I can. The first one, and the main question you're going to get asked: what's the term? What's the interest rate? What's the balloon? Because by default, that is not in the DealSniper letter. Now we're adding it. But until then, and even more so, I want you guys to understand what these mean and how to interpret these real estate agent responses. So if they're asking what's the term, that means how long are the payments stretched out for? If they're asking what the balloon is, or if there is a balloon means that, hey, we're going to stretch these payments out over 30 years, but guess what? In 10, we'll just pay you off whatever we owe you. That's a balloon. And a balloon can be a minimum for our deals and our buyers, a minimum of 7 years. Unless the property is, the total purchase price is less than 100,000, then you can do a minimum of 5 years. But ideally, you want to say between 10 to 12 years. So here's how you respond to that text or that email. Hey, Sean, I appreciate the offer, but I'm confused. I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. The numbers don't add up. And they're asking questions. That's a good thing. That's better than just no. So if you get anything like that, and it's mentioning the term, the amortization, or the balloon, or the interest rate, here's what you say. Some version of: absolutely, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I completely understand how that could be a little confusing. This is an unconventional offer. It's at 0% interest on the monthly payment. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that we offered X amount of dollars over your asking price. And the reason why we did that is because the investors that I represent are all about cash flow. So they don't particularly care how much the property costs. So whatever interest your seller would have gotten throughout the life of the term, we basically just gave it to you up front on the purchase price. And two, as I said, our buyers need to be able to cash flow. If they can't cash flow, there's no incentive for them to move forward with the purchase. As far as the amortization or the term and the balloon, we stretch this out between 20 and 28 years, but we can throw a 10-year balloon on there, no problem. Just let me know if that works. If you say something like that, either text or over the phone, one, you're going to sound like you know what you're talking about, especially if you use that same confident and matter-of-fact tone. Especially throw a little nonchalant in there. Like, oh yeah, this is the way we always do it. No big deal. Like, I don't care. You want to throw a 10-year balloon in there? I don't care. But that's the answer. You've answered all three of their questions. What's the term? What's the balloon, if there is one? And what's the interest? You've answered the interest. It's 0% interest. That's the answer. But also, here's why. One, our buyer needs to cash flow. Two, we did at 0% interest so our buyer can cash flow, but we added what we thought the interest was going to be anyway to the purchase price. What's the term, amortization, and balloon? Well, the amortization or the term, those words are interchangeable. We stretch this out between 20 and 28 years. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but no worries. We can throw a 10-year balloon in there and get them paid off in 10 years. That's not a problem. You just answered the question. Here's another one that you guys will get a lot. This isn't an offer. It needs to be on, and it'll either be a string of letters that's a acronym for whatever their state contract is, or this needs to be on paper, this needs to be on contract, this needs to be on something. All they're asking is for you to take the offer that you email to them or text. I know some of you guys are texting offers, and put it in a contract and email it to them. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing when a realtor says that. That means that they're going to either consider it or they're going to seriously bring it to their seller and say, "Hey, we got an offer. Would you take this?" So anytime they say that, all they're saying is put it on a contract. Now, if they are asking for a state contract, the one that's been coming up lately is the FAR bar contract. That's the Florida state real estate contract. You guys don't have access to that unless you're an agent. So you just tell the agent, "Hey, I don't have access to that. I'm unrepresented, but I'll tell you what, if I send you my contract, can you transfer my terms onto the state contract that you want it on? And if your seller is interested in moving forward, then I'll let you represent us as the buyer's agent. And we'll pay up to 3% of the purchase price for your commission." Most realtors are going to be totally okay with that, because what you're asking them to do is you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to send you a contract. I know you can't use it, but I'm going to send it to you. Take my information, my terms, all my stuff, put it on the contract that you want to be put on, and then present it to your seller. And if they're willing to move forward, I'll add your commission to the deal. No big deal. Done." Now, you also need to make sure through the deal machine calculator that that'll work, but most of the time it does. So you should be okay. That is the most common responses you're going to get from a realtor, other than no. And let me touch a little bit on when they say no, because I know a lot of you guys get super heated. Like, "Oh, I don't even think they showed it to the seller. How did they say no so fast?" 9 times out of 10, most of the time, almost all of the time, the real estate agent has that conversation with their seller right before the listing goes on market. So they'll sit with the seller and they'll say, "Hey, we're going to get these type of offers. Are you interested in seller finance, subject to, hybrid, wrap, land contracts, lease options? Are you open to any of those, or do you just want cash?" And the seller will say, "We just want cash." So it's not the real estate agent shooting you down or lying to you. Why would the real estate agent shoot themselves in the foot? They don't get paid unless the house gets sold. I'm sure they'd love to take your offer, but it's not their call. It's the seller's call. And if the seller says no, or they've already had that discussion, then the real estate agent is going to respond quickly. You should be happy when they do it. Some real estate agents don't respond at all, and then you're just left in limbo. So stop getting so heated. And here's how you respond to that. "No problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My offer is good for 30 days if your seller's situation changes, or if the sellers change their mind." Then you wait a month. It's on your Google Sheet. And you're going to click the link, and you're going to see if the property is still listed a month later. If it is, hit the realtor up again. "Hey, I know you said your sellers weren't interested, but I did notice the property's been listed for another 30 days and it hasn't moved. Do you think they would be open to my offer now? Would you mind asking them, presenting it to them?" That's how you build relationships with realtors, when they know that you're professional, you're not full of it, you're not like all the other wholesalers that they've ever dealt with, which is what I'm teaching you guys. I want to teach you guys to be different so that you close more deals and build that relationship. That is everything that I have for my standard operating procedures for DealSniper. The next video is going to be standard operating procedures for creative deals as a whole. Our maximum down payments, maximum interest rate, cash on cash return, things like that. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll talk to you later.